Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the BTB Movie Club podcast. My name is Dan Sears. We hope you enjoyed today's movie discussion. Thanks for listening.
Welcome, everybody, to the BTB Movie Club podcast. We are here to discuss movie number 230. This is The Man Who Wasn't There from the Coen brothers. This was Dan's pick after he was given a couple of actors to choose from, and they were Frances McDormand, who he went with, or what was your other one? Was it Will Smith?
Yes.
So stayed away from the smacker Will Smith and went with Frances McDormand. Good call. Staying politically safe there. I like that. Dan, it's your show. Take it away.
All right. I mean, all due respect to Will Smith, he's got a few good movies, but Frances McDormand has done a lot of really good stuff, I think. So I
as the
definitely was
kids
going to
say,
go with
his movies slap, as the kids say.
Is that what they say?
They do. They say this slaps.
All right. But yeah, I hadn't seen this before. This was one of the ones that seems like it flies under the radar because it didn't do that great at the box office, but it's got good ratings on Rotten Tomatoes and everything. So I'd give it a shot and see what happens. So we can go. Well, but I think Brian, I guess he's the new lead here. So Brian, you're first.
Well, thank you for recognizing my power, Dan. I appreciate that. Yeah, you might not have wanted to do that though. So first, I'd never heard of this movie. So I actually thought you were using comedic genius because you picked the movie The Man Who Wasn't There on the week you weren't here. So I didn't think it was really a movie. And now that I've watched it, I wish it wasn't. So, no, I mean, going with a little extremes on that. The Coen brothers aren't my favorite to begin with. I know we watched some other of their movies and haven't really gone well with me. I don't know what it is. I can't really put my finger on it. Maybe I'm just not intellectual, but
don't say that.
It's okay.
All right.
This movie, I think it was a little long. I mean, it could have cut down some, but I actually appreciated it being in black and white. I thought that was a good touch for the storytelling of the movie. Billy Bob Thornton, if he doesn't have lung cancer before the movie, he does after. So, it was just, and I just looked it up on IMDb and it actually says chain smoking barber. So they nailed that in the description. It's just, I don't know. I don't know how to describe how I thought about it. I'm a little at a loss for words. He was creepy. I don't understand how the dad from Step Brothers, I don't know the actor's name. I know where he's from.
Richard Jenkins. He's from DeKalb, Illinois.
Oh,
is he really?
He is.
Oh,
graduated from DeKalb High School.
It was just, like I said, there was just the dad's letting this guy come over and listen to his daughter play piano, which, okay, maybe, but then he's there all the time and then sends him up to her bedroom. It was just, it kind of went a little far.
Cringy. That is definitely cringy.
Yeah. So, I guess overall, I not angry that I watched it, but I don't think I would ever watch it again. And I don't really want to talk about it much more for myself. And I'd like to hear what you guys have to say.
All right. Thank you for your input, Brian. But
any follow-up questions, Dan? You want to?
No, that's a teacher thing. They like to ask follow-up questions. Yeah, that's not me. Maybe I'll throw a couple, a few questions out there at the end for the group.
Dan, you're deflecting negativity. That's all you're doing right now. You're just deflecting negativity, which, by the way, is a Larson trait.
Ooh, yeah, I wouldn't want to do that. All
Ask
right.
Matt. He's becoming a Larson.
Okay, well, you're up next, Mac. What'd you think of The Man Who Wasn't There?
All right. This movie was kind of weird.
Yeah.
Didn't know what to expect. Billy Bob Thornton actually does a pretty good job just kind of playing a stoic, is that the right word? Stoic, sort of
hmm
just like he had almost no emotion, which I don't know if that's easier or harder to play as an actor to just have like the blank stare on his face all the time. Um, this was considered noir, right? Is that how you say it? And it was the okay, Tim, what?
Well, I was going to say this. It has a noir feel, but noir is usually something about a detective, right? Like
Yeah.
that's actually a kind of a plot line that's attached to that. But this does have that film noir feel, even though it doesn't have that film noir plot line.
Yeah, well, and I mean it's got the black and white, it's got the narration,
hmm
it's very dark, right? He's in shadows a lot. Everybody's in shadows a lot, unless they're in the barber
Smoking
shop.
cigarettes a lot,
Right,
right? Yeah.
right, right. There is a detective in it. Does that count? Um, no, it was just strange. I wouldn't go so far as to say it was a bad movie. I think it was a perfectly fine movie. It did seem to drag a little bit. I was a little surprised that after Big Dave, is that his name? Big John, Big Dave,
Big Dave, I think. Yeah.
Big Dave.
Big Dave, yeah.
Yeah.
Not Super Dave.
James
Big
James
Dave.
James Gandolfini. After he died, there was much more movie than I thought there was going to be. I thought after he died, we were like, okay, it's sort of like the first climax kind of thing, and we're gonna wander on down. Yeah, some of the stuff didn't make sense to me. Her killing herself in prison was weird. Like, and not that I need an explanation for everything, but why? Like, was it because she knew her husband knew? Was it because she didn't want to face jail time? I don't know. It was kind of weird. That was kind of a weird thing. And then his relationship with Scarlett Johansson's character was just creepy. And
Yeah.
like you saw it coming a mile away, right? Like you saw the creepiness, but then he kind of acted like in the car, he was like, "What are you doing? I'd never even thought that this is something that you would ever think." And it's like, I really? You kind of were being creepy with her the whole time. How did you not think that she might get confused as a teenage girl? Like that's just dumb. Like you're an idiot. But yeah, it was weird. It was a little hard to follow. Not hard to follow. It was very easy to follow, but like sort of the plot sort of forking every once in a while is just kind of it just I don't know. It was different. I'm actually glad I watched it. I think it was worth the watch. Frances McDermott was fine for when she was in it. Just some of the stuff didn't make sense to me. The wife talking about being abducted by aliens, no clue what that had to do with anything. And then he sees the thing later in the Time magazine and then the little vision he has at the end, like it's just that was a sort of like a weird throw in, I think. Excuse me. But yeah, I thought it was a good movie. I thought there was some story there. I thought it was a good story for the most part, except when they kind of went off the rails a couple times. Um, I like this style, like the black and white narrator, old school detective. I know it wasn't a detective, Tim, but kind of that genre of old school movie where there's a narrator and it's black and white and they're smoking a cigarette in the corner. I do like that style. I think it's when done well, it can be a pretty good movie. So yeah, I'm glad I watched it. Will I ever watch it again? Probably not. Um, yeah, it was just weird. Like they kind of tried to throw some comedy in there with the detectives. I thought like they're just bumbling detectives, police officers, whatever they were. Yeah, it was just kind of a weird movie. It's hard to point my finger on one thing, but I'm glad I watched it. Probably won't watch it again. Was not a bad movie, just kind of weird and different. So I don't know if that
All right.
does anything for you, but
If it makes you
Okay.
feel better, Matt, I know you really couldn't do it while you were talking, so I did the Googling for you, and it does say in the dictionary um, definition, of film noir, that
Yeah.
it's a thriller or a detective movie. And it was originally, um, because of a group of French critics kind of pigeonholing American movies at the time in the 40s and 50s.
Hmm.
So
That makes
I would
sense.
put this in the thriller.
Yeah, I'd say. Yeah, I
Kind
was,
of slow mover
like,
for a thriller.
yeah, a little bit. But like Maltese.
Not thrilling, thriller.
Yeah, like Maltese Falcon and Private Eyes, and yeah, so I get it. So anyway, yeah, good stuff. I'm glad I watched it. It wasn't the worst thing we've ever watched in this group. So I know that's a
All
low
right.
bar, but
Um,
What is the worst movie we've ever watched in this group, man?
Who, Blood and Honey. Oh.
well, to be fair, I didn't watch that one.
It's
So
been a couple of weeks since we said the name, so I just wanted to get it out there.
um, my personal opinion of the Scarlett Johansson character is that he looked at her as like pure, and he didn't want anybody defiling her, including himself.
hmm
So
that
I
makes
think that's
sense.
why he freaked out when she wanted to, go down on him like that.
Well,
So
I also wonder too, like it's someone he communicated with her more than anybody else in the entire movie, without a doubt. He said more words to her. I didn't do the research on this, but I bet if you went back and looked at dialogue, I bet he had more words spoken to her than he did to almost anybody else in the whole movie, other than maybe the pansy guy, because the the dry cleaning guy, because they talked about but they didn't even talk that much. So anyway, yeah, it was weird. It was just strange.
yeah, I mean, my opinion, Billy Bob Thornton's like the perfect guy for this character. I in a lot of the movies, he isn't a huge talker, and this one, he really has it nailed down. The just kind of staring at people creepily and not saying
Yeah, just
anything.
literally not saying anything. Like, and he even admits at the end of the movie, like his wife and him don't talk at all. And they
Right?
got along just fine. It's weird.
Yep. Didn't he say something like that at the end? What did he say? Oh,
When
he
she
said
was
maybe.
pregnant,
Well, yeah, yeah. What he
he
said
was like, we
about
haven't had
her
sex in years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
he said maybe I can tell her in the afterlife all the things they don't have words for here in this life.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But okay, all right. Thank you, Matt.
hmm
All right, next, Aaron, keep going. You're up.
Um, I kind of enjoyed it. I mean, it wasn't the greatest thing I've ever seen, but I've got no problem watching it. I'd probably watch it again to see if I pick more up, or you know something we say here. Um, Dan, I'm leaning your way. Um, I didn't see it as like and maybe, and this is gonna get weird, and Brian's gonna get all judgmental. Um, I didn't see it as like an American Beauty, kind of him lusting after her like that way. Even though an argument could be made in American Beauty, he kind of saw her as a pure thing too, but that was just creepy. Um, in this, I see it the more like you were saying, for him, it was something good in kind of a shitty world that he just kind of wanted to be in the presence of. Not that he ever wanted, I didn't get that he was, you know, lusting after her or anything. I thought he legitimately just liked the way she played the piano and thought she was, a kid who had potential, to maybe do better things than he did.
Uh, just to jump in, Aaron, I didn't, if I came across saying that I thought he was going after her or lusting after her, I didn't feel that. I just said it was a
Oh, okay.
cringe moment, that it seemed like they were portraying it as he was a little off, or the situation was off. But I clearly, if he's fighting her off instead of letting her go down on him,
There was no intent there.
you know,
Yeah.
Right.
it,
But, and, that's after, half hour or whatever of that, you know, interaction between them building. So,
well, yeah, and he was just like, he believed in, like you guys said, she was a positive force in the world, and he didn't have a lot of that, and she was somebody who was pure, and he could build up and
okay.
do something good and help her out.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that's what I
didn't,
got out of
yeah,
it
I
too.
didn't, I just, as a viewer of it, I thought it was awkward.
Right. Um, one thing I thought was I don't know if it was off-putting isn't the word, but and maybe because it was black and white, like, and this could come off a weird way too. I thought Scarlett Johansson looked exactly the same as she does now. Like, I didn't realize, because Billy Bob Thornton, he's been old since the first thing I've seen him in, even though he was younger than me when I saw him in his first movie. Um, I couldn't believe, like, I looked it up and she was like 15 or 16, like in real life when she made this movie, doing the math with how old she is now and it being 24 years ago. Right? This is 2001.
This is 2001.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So,
just
I
looked up.
mean,
She was born in 84.
yeah. So she's just a little kid in this movie. So I don't know. I just thought like she hasn't changed a whole lot as far as like her face. Um, but yeah, I liked it. I liked the weird, quirky turns. The wife showing up on the porch talking about Roswell, talking about how um, the husband, Big Dave, uh, Did she suggest he was abducted?
Yeah. Or he
Yeah.
said
Okay.
he was anyway.
She
Right.
said not even
Or did he
abducted,
say
but
it? I
he was
can't.
on the ship.
Yeah. So I mean, just weird, and then it comes up later, like
Was it
Ryan said.
Roswell specific?
I think Roswell was said, or maybe it was in the paper at the end.
That was in the
When we
paper
see
for
Roswell
sure.
was in the
Okay.
paper. Yeah.
They were just camping. She had said they were camping or something.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I, mashed that together. I watched this one on like Thursday. So, for me, usually I watch them like 10 minutes ago. So they're really fresh. Um, let's see. Yeah. Francis McDermott wasn't in it that much, but what a, um, cool, neat kind of different character, bitch. Usually she doesn't play, that kind of I don't know. I guess she's not really the um antagonist, but
Mhm.
she's antagonistic. Um, she's not a good person. She's not the hero, definitely. So just I thought that was a different, cool, neat role to see her in.
Yeah, and
Um,
they had her like in her underwear and stuff. She was wearing like sexy lady clothes at one point, and that's not her normal thing either. So
right at the
that is
start
kind of
when
cool. Yeah.
I didn't even recognize her. I was like, "Oh my God, way to
I
go!"
thought it was
But
Scarlett Johansson. I was like,
then again, I'm like,
we're yeah,
24 years ago.
yeah.
But yeah, and she's a fine looking woman now, but 24 years ago, she was hot. Um, so yeah, that scene, her sitting on the bed in her, underwear, that was, caught me off guard. Um, what else? There's some other stuff. So when I think it's in the car accident, um, before, I think when the car's flying through the air, he dies for a minute, right? And he goes to wherever she is, and he's in the driveway, and the guy's trying to sell him the driveway asphalt
Yeah.
covering for his piece down,
That was
and he
weird.
sits down with on the couch with her. They're both dead, I thought, and they're like pissed off, and she's like, "It's about time you got here," And then he wakes up. They bring him to in the hospital or whatever. So I was pretty sure he died and he was in hell.
Hmm.
I don't know. That's the way I saw it.
I like that take.
Okay, I don't know if anybody else got that
Well, how do
from
you
it,
know it's
but
hell? Maybe it was something else.
well, in heaven you don't have a asphalt guy trying to cover your pea stone. That's some boring ass, stuck on earth hell. Um, that's not fishing in a bass boat on Lake St. Clair or playing hockey on frozen Lake St. Clair. Either way, um,
Skate in the river.
yeah, skate in the river, even if it's Black River. Um, but yeah, I liked it. I liked his character. I like the different characters they brought in. Um, it's hard because you see a lot of these people as, you know, maybe slightly bigger stars than they were 25 years ago for a few of them. Maybe it was their peak, but just the cast. And um, I don't know where this is in the Coen brothers arsenal of movies they put out. But I mean, they drew a lot of what I would think would be big names, a lot of faces I recognized. Um, Tony Shalhoub playing a very weird lawyer. Everything was very weird. And um, I kind of just end with I liked the not that it was non-linear, but non-formulaic. Everything was weird and strange and didn't go the way you thought. And things that you would think would get a bigger reaction or be a bigger part of the plot were kind of just, oh, well, that's how life goes sometimes, and just everything just moved on, kind of like real life does, even when huge events happen. Um, but yeah, I thought it was interesting and quirky. I like that it was black and white. I thought the story, as weird as it was, kept me entertained. Um, didn't love it by any stretch of the imagination, but I enjoyed watching it, and I would I'm definitely going to give it another shot. I'll watch it again just to, see if I pick up on other things or, made things up that weren't there. Um, but yeah, I didn't hate it at all. Good pick, Dan.
All right. Um, as far as the tar salesman, maybe that's uh Billy Bob's idea of heaven because his wife was always the one that did everything, so she had to come along and tell the salesman to get lost while he was just sitting there. So maybe that's his idea of heaven. So maybe he was, unconscious and thinking that.
Yeah, absolutely. It could have, or like I said, I could have just, that could have been something I entered. I don't know why they would have put it there though. Other than like you're saying, it's his version of the afterlife. It's what the afterlife is really doing to him. Heaven or hell. But just the way that she sat down, kind of bitchy, and said something to the effect of, it's about time you got here, or where have you been, or something like that. Um, it's like that's what made me think. I was like, oh, he's in hell. He's stuck with her, you know.
I like that take. I didn't think about it while I was watching it. Like I didn't have a take on it. I was like, well, it's a weird movie, and so they put a weird scene in there. But I think the way I reacted to it was he was unconscious and so dreaming while he was like in a coma or passed out or whatever. And so I didn't
And
think
I
about
mean
it
that
being an
that
afterlife
could
thing at all. Yeah, go
that
ahead.
could kind of be, what some people believe that where your
Yeah,
mind goes when you die, that's where you go.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
heaven, hell, whatever you want to call it. But um,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Interesting take.
Okay. All right. Malo's been kind of quiet here so far, so fire away, Malo.
Have. Appreciate it. Uh, so I hadn't seen this. I don't know how. Like 2001, that's when I moved to LA. I was very it was the most into movies and all of the whole thing that I'd ever been. I don't know if this came out earlier in the year or what, but I saw Ghost World in the theater with Scarlett Johansson, and I remember talking to my buddy who was like, like she's going to be a thing. And he was a huge Coen Brothers fan. So I don't know how this one escaped me. There's a bunch of other ones that like Punch Drunk Love, Mulholland Drive, like all these kind of, you know, uh, I don't know, less than mainstream movies or whatever that I remember seeing in the theater. And this one um, totally escaped me. So I watched it Friday. It does go for a while. Got tired, fell asleep toward the end. Watched the ending again Saturday, and then today I rewatched a whole bunch of it. I was just very intrigued by it. I don't know. It didn't necessarily fall into the good movie, bad movie, liked it or didn't or whatever. It was just there's a lot going on, and I was very intrigued by how they did it. And I got up into literally the point where the car is flying slow motion before this started. So I didn't time it right. But actually, I felt like it dragged a little bit more this time, which was interesting. I, I went in because I wanted to learn more about it and dive in deeper. And I instead felt more of the drag on it. But just such a good cast. I was trying to figure out the time frame. I knew it was Pasadena where the house is. I actually, a buddy of mine, same guy, he made a short film. There's this whole area in Pasadena where that's a lot of what they do is, or 20 years ago, they did rent out these houses for filming purposes. And it looked, exactly like that. Just little things I like. It was just, some of the narrative, and then a twist where like we used to go to church once a week. It was Tuesdays, but it was because of bingo.
Yeah.
Gandolfini was fantastic. They always the Coen brothers throw in certain phrases or like they walk a line. Those fiery Mediterraneans. There was that one. Disappeared like the nips at Nagasaki. I was like, holy shit. Like there was some stuff that fits with the times, but man.
When she didn't want to go to the picnic with the wops.
Yeah. Well, and okay. So here's the other thing. I guess like they're very forward with it that's her brother.
The other barber.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
What? Michael Badalucci, I don't know, or Badalucci. I don't know. And then it was this time watching it where I really, I guess, noticed her saying that, and I was like, how does that work? Because you're going to this is your family anyway. Yeah. So a lot of different things there. One thing, okay, so the blackmail, I don't get it, it didn't fit for me that Gandolfini would go to him and divulge what was happening, even though he didn't like really tell him, he's like, yeah, I've been bad, whatever. I've been messing around with a married woman, nobody you know. He doesn't know this guy. Why would he trust him to go to him with that information? That felt convenient for the story, I guess.
Well, can I address that, Melo?
Yeah, maybe I missed it.
There's a little bit of a weird character thing with him that I'll bring up coming up anyway, but I don't know that Gandolfini's character, Big Dave, has anybody that he's really close to, because he talks shit all the time, right? Like he talks and talks and talks, but I don't think he really cares whether or not the other person is listening, And so somebody like that who's not really on a two-way street conversational relationship with anybody, if he's got to go to confide somewhere, he's not going to go to his wife to talk to his wife about sleeping with another woman. So go over to the house where they frequently come over and have dinner, and Billy Bob Thornton just kind of puts up with it, and you're hearing his inner thoughts of, I don't really care for this guy. But Gandolfini is probably oblivious to that, so he thinks there's more of a relationship than there is. That's my take on that.
Okay. Yeah. I guess I didn't know how often that was or how much of a relationship. I did like when they were over there for dinner, and you see some of that relationship when he's telling the awful story about the kid who died in the war, and Francis Dormant is just eating it up, and they're doing dishes together. Like that was fun. The fun, what's his name? Joe. The guy, the dry cleaning guy. the just
The Patsy.
I not expect that little moment when he's on the bed
Yeah.
and just kind of like, did you make a pass? I don't know. You want it to be a pass? Like, what's
Well, it
happening
was
here?
such a like old school funny, like that is out of line, sir. Like,
Right.
Well, speaking of that, when the whole car scene with Scarlett Johansson, he's like, "Heavens to Betsy!"
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just
Yeah, I
good
didn't
stuff.
get the thing on the bed. I didn't see anything. Did he?
Oh, he winked like,
Oh,
Yeah. And he was sexy posing it up a little bit.
yeah.
Yeah.
I just thought it was a fat guy like pulling himself up on the bed. I was like, what? I thought that scene was going to go a different way. I thought he was going to accuse him, and then there'd be like, I thought the dry cleaner was going to like attack him for calling him gay, and I was like, oh no, he did. I was like, I missed that, but whatever. I thought that was funny.
I don't know. It's a weird little choice. I don't know if there's a scene with him that he didn't have a cigarette. Maybe. And if there was, it was probably significant and I missed it. There was a little thing where he's doing the narration and then he stops and he goes to see Big Dave, and that whole thing happens, and he comes back and he goes right back to the story. I thought that was pretty fun. Speaking of the cast, Brian Haley is one of the cops. He was a really good stand-up, and he had he was always like almost on the brink, and I just don't know whatever happened to him. I started looking at it earlier, and he's done some stuff, but I don't know. Shaloub is fantastic, man.
Yep.
When he's at the restaurant, oh my gosh. Like going through it and just like he owns it, and he's still talking about the flapjacks with his steak and eggs or whatever the hell he ordered. So good. And just even later too, when he's processing how they're going to make this argument, and the whole point, like that, it's really, really. I think this ties into why she killed herself, right? He's like, I killed him, and his brain is just, all right. What angle does that work? How does it? How can
Right.
we make that
Right.
fit? But obviously, Francis McDormand clearly sees what's happening there. Just really, really good stuff. Yeah, the only other two things I had, so it's a I don't know, it's a weird film for me where I like it, but I feel like maybe it's a little too smart for me, or there's just a little something off. Like I'm almost there. I almost really get it, but I don't quite. And I don't know if that's me or the movie. So I don't know. I'll finish watching a little bit here after we're done, and we'll see. But they originally filmed it in color and then transposed it to black and white. I really do like a lot of what they did. They won awards, cinematography. I can't remember the gentleman's name right now. But here's another weird thing. I don't know if you guys saw this. Bill Murray was originally considered for the role of that Billy Bob Thornton of the barber. And I don't know. I love Bill Murray, but I mean he's always even in serious stuff, he's still Bill Murray, that the funny guy. I think it would have had a different feel. But anyway, I talked a little longer than I thought.
What were you gonna say, Tim? You started to say something.
Well, I was going to. I'll bring that in when it comes up because it's something I was going to bring up anyway.
Oh, okay. Well, go right ahead.
So whenever it's my turn,
It's
on the
your
last
turn.
guy. Okay. Yeah. So I'll take that one head on. Lost in Translation is 2003, and if you think of Bill Murray in that role, then Bill Murray in this role kind of makes sense, right? Because he's very sad in that role and very, I mean, it's almost the same role, really. And the reason I had written down Lost in Translation, looked that up, is because Aaron was talking about Scarlett Johansson being so young, and Lost in Translation is just 2 years later, and she's playing like a married, a young married person. But some of that kind of makes sense. And I don't know about you guys. I don't really have her in a timeline in my head for when she was a teenager as an actress and when she turns into an adult and all that kind of stuff. But um, yeah, so I could see Bill Murray doing this role because of his role in Lost in Translation is where I was going to go with that. So as we were talking about this, I looked up a couple of things. It's set in 1949. So some of the language that you guys are talking about him using, golly gee and stuff like that, if it's set in 1949, which adds to Matt's, film noir kind of thing, because that's sort of the timeline those would be set in. That makes sense. Um, how do I feel about this movie overall? I it drags. I think Melo said that a minute ago. It drags, and that was an issue for me. I wasn't not interested in it. I can't tell you that I really liked it and enjoyed it. I definitely didn't not like it though, but my biggest issue was it drags. And so I tried to watch it Thursday night and I fell asleep and I had to finish it Friday. And I mean, as soon as I turn it on, I just get sleepy. It's 2 hours where, if they just pick up the pace of how fucking Billy Bob speaks, it'd be down to an hour and a half. So I found the characters really interesting, and the plot was a little weird, but that's a Coen Brothers thing, right? So um, I was thinking a lot about Fargo, and I was wondering if this predated Fargo, which it does not. This is after Fargo. Fargo's in the 90s. William H. Macy's character in Fargo is a lot like this character here in that he's frustrated, he's not happy with his life. He makes kind of a rash decision to try and get a payout to better his life with money. And when it goes south, it goes really south, and he doesn't know how to deal with it. Like, that's a very similar kind of plot point or a character arc, if you will. And I couldn't get away from that as I was watching this. And I was thinking, okay, so they did this once and then they figured it out, because I think Fargo is a much better movie than this movie. And maybe you guys don't feel the same way, but when I realized that this one came after, that's a head scratcher for me. Like, you guys already did this movie. And so I get that they went, black and white, even though you're saying they filmed it in color. I think that's really fascinating. And they did, with the smoking and the black and white and the noir feel, they were making a different movie, but it was kind of about the same thing. I'm frustrated. I don't like my life. I'm going to try and I'm going to make a bad decision to get out of it. And then it goes south, and, then it goes worse and more people die. Um, a Coen Brothers thing is to make you feel uncomfortable. I mean, that's for sure. And it successful there. Yeah, I thought the stuff with Scarlett Johansson was very cringeworthy. Um, And I agree with everybody's comments. Brian started in with, like, why would the dad let this old man just go talk to his daughter in her bedroom as a teenager, late stage teenager? I mean, it seemed like she was maybe a senior in high school or had just graduated. Um, which makes me feel a little less cringy about it. Maybe she's 18, but at the same time, cringy. Why is that element in this movie? And it's just kind of there to throw you, because he's not being his intent is not to be sinister, or predatory at all. And then I don't know. I guess the moral of the story is take the roadhead blowjob, because if you don't, bad things happen. I mean, if we got to look for a moral in the story, I think that's it. Um, and it's so the title, "The Man Who Wasn't There." Um, like, even when he's trying to do something, like he's trying to help Scarlett Johansson out, take her to this piano guy, she doesn't even want this help. Like, why did she even go in this car ride? Like, she's very clear about it. She's like, I don't even know why you're upset about this. I didn't want this. And it just shows how off he is. Like, his version of reality is not right, because she's not that good of a piano player. The guy's like, she really sucks. Like she's not. She should do something else. Maybe she could be a typist. What? Wow. Um.
Well,
So
he
here's
fantasizes about being her manager and her making it
right,
big.
right. But the delusion is she's not that good in the first place. Like all of his ideas are just kind of not good. So he doesn't talk to people. So he's kind of the man who isn't there. But I think like his version of reality is not quite right, is what I took away from this and what's kind of supposed to be the point. And so I was a little sad that he got the death chair. Um, I mean, he got blamed for the wrong murder, which is very interesting. Um, and earlier, Melo, you were talking about Big Dave. This is one thing that I've thought about that kind of doesn't make sense for me. Big Dave is all talk about what a war hero he was and the fights that he was in, and we find out none of that was true. He was a desk clerk somewhere. But then he beats the shit out of the guy and kills him and throws the body in the car in the lake. Um, Something doesn't add up there for me. Like he wasn't a war hero. He wasn't this big badass, but somehow he's got the game level where he could beat the shit out of somebody to get information out of him and kill him. Maybe
Well,
blackmail
I
pushes
mean,
you to
he
that point,
still
but
has 100 pounds on him. I mean, he's still a big
yeah,
guy.
What was he gonna
yeah.
do? How would it have ended with Ed Crane if he didn't have that knife?
Oh,
I
that's a
think
He'd have
good
he was
killed
point.
getting
him
strangled to death.
That's a good point. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
or
fair.
thrown through that window.
Yeah, I
You
think that's
know,
fair. Um, but it was just so yeah. So he turned a corner on that, but I don't know. It just sat weird with me that he's bragging about being a tough guy, but he wasn't, and then all of a sudden he is. Like I agree with you in that scene with Billy Bob Thornton, he is, and so maybe that
well, there's a
tracks with the
difference
other one,
between
but
being a war hero and a tough guy and this and that, and being a bully. I mean,
He had a
both the
history
guys,
of violent
both the guys he was
events.
beating were smaller than him. I mean,
yeah,
Billy Bob might have been his height, but was definitely not in his weight class, and the
yeah,
other guy was
yeah,
neither.
Yeah, yeah.
So I mean, that's just straight up bully. That's not heroic or war hero
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. That makes sense. Um, so yeah, I think I'm cleared on my list here. Um, I would watch this again. I wouldn't look forward to it. Uh, this isn't like I'm not rewatching this. I think how Aaron was saying, like I'd watch it again just to kind of see if I can get some more stuff, or like Melo did today. I think I would be interested in that now that I know how it plays out and see if there were some hints in there. But I would also be leery about falling asleep again because
And
it
not feel
really
bad about
does
fast
drag.
forwarding.
Yeah, I'm not good about that. I don't think, I'm no Wilden watch it on 1.5 speed either. Um, but yeah, it's interesting. I liked the characters. I didn't love the movie. I didn't hate the movie. I would watch it again to get some interesting, it's a different take on it. But that's kind of where I land on this. I'm right in the middle. I know I'm walking the line here, but I think that's where I land on it. So for that reason, I'm going to say that's a pretty good pick because it does kind of make you think about stuff. And, we watched a weird movie and we get to react to it. But I wouldn't say it's one of my favorites. I'll just kind of leave it at that.
I didn't
Right.
know, and I'm glad you brought it up that, Fargo, definitely the feelings are there, the ethers there that it
Yeah.
exists in. Um, I would not have thought this was after Fargo. I would have thought it was
Right.
before. I didn't look up when Fargo came out. Um, I don't think they're the same kind of guy though, where you're saying like they did this already with the car dealer.
Hmm.
I don't think Ed had any problem with his life. I think like it wasn't great. He knew he didn't own the department store and he didn't have a big swinging dick and a fancy car, but I think he was fine. If he could have just got his
Just cutting
brother-in-law to
hair.
shut up. Yeah, if he could have got his brother-in-law to
Yeah.
shut up half the day while they were cutting hair, his life would be perfect. And I
But
think
why
he'd
do
be
the
totally
blackmail
fine
though?
with it. I don't know that. Yeah, and that's one of those things where, and Melo was saying, I want to say, I just said this in the last movie we watched, or maybe a couple movies ago. There was a lot that And we all talk about how we don't need everything spelled exactly out for us. We don't need all the, you know, um, laces to get tied.
Yeah.
But this one seemed like one of the last ones we just watched. They missed in such a way that I didn't see what even they were going for
Mm.
sometimes. And it's like, but I kind of get it, so I'm just going to go along with it. You know, um, this wasn't as bad as the other time I talked about it. Um, but yeah, there were definitely some. I see what they were going for, and I'm just going to let it ride kind of moments. Um, and when Mela was talking, I was thinking of him, and I didn't write anything down. But yeah, definitely, I didn't agree with him being the same as
Macy.
the guy who's
William H.
running.
Macy.
Yeah, William H. Macy, where he was definitely, you know, struggling and kind of pissed off with his life. Not pissed off, but downtrodden.
Unhappy, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, where I think Ed was just comfortably numb with,
But the
not having
strange
sex
thing
with his
about that
wife.
is, he wanted to be Scarlett Johansson's manager. He said, because he wouldn't charge her an arm and a leg, and he would just make enough money to get by, which is what he was
Right.
doing as a barber.
Yeah.
When does Scarlett Johansson even come into the story? We don't even meet her until after the laundromat guy's dead, right?
I don't think that's correct. I think there's an
Okay.
earlier. She's playing the piano once when he
At,
happens to be over there
at
before
the
that
party,
happens.
there was a party that they were at,
Okay.
and she was
But,
somewhere upstairs or something.
Yeah. Yeah,
to me, it's like she doesn't even play a role in the movie until after his wife's arrested and then, maybe even dead,
no,
until
it's
that whole
before
thing
that, and
starts.
but there is something then to that, right? So he does seem fairly content, but then the dry cleaning, there's a draw there, and then that obviously falls through, and then the manager thing, whatever potential that could be. So he is chasing something, but yeah, it's not.
And
It's not.
I don't think he was chasing it um, until he thinks his wife's nailing Big
That's what
Dave.
Yep.
And that kind of pisses him off. And, maybe that's the original fire to get into this dry cleaning thing. And then that falls through. And it's almost like, well, now he's on this path of, I don't even want to call it bettering himself. Um, and that's where the Scarlett Johansson thing
He
snowballs
says
into.
something too, though, about that, where like it's a free world or whatever. Like when he first talks about how he suspects her of fooling around. It's not
Yeah,
even
like
Yeah,
he does.
yeah.
not even
So,
anger. It's not even like, you know what I mean? And
So
when Gandalf, Big Dave, he's like, "What kind of man are you?"
Yeah.
He's like, "I could understand if you came in here and socked me in the nose or whatever, but this was your
Yeah.
thing." Like he
Yeah.
didn't try to end it. From to get some money from him.
So
It's weird.
I have the blackmail as a reaction to being at that party because he says something about I'm pretty sure they're sleeping together, but whatever. I'm just gonna go smoke a cigarette. But then you go to the party, and he sees interactions between them. And if I'm remembering that correctly, maybe I don't even have that timeline right, but I had it in my head that he sees something and in his mind that guarantees that they're sleeping together. Then he goes with the blackmail. So that's where I'm going with the William H. Macy thing because he doesn't get William H. Macy doesn't get the opportunity to run the whatever the project is. So then he's like, okay, well then I'm going to do this kidnapping heist. I had another thought though, and this is it like Aaron said, they don't really tie things together for you, so you don't get to know. So let me go on the way out of the box thinking. Maybe Billy Bob Thornton's character is just completely delusional and they're not sleeping together at all. And then he gets into this blackmailing thing. That would make more sense why he thinks he's going to be a manager for this piano playing girl because it's utter nonsense. Like the whole thing's nonsense. The only credible person you get in that arc of the story is an actual piano teacher going, this isn't, you're way off base here. And immediately he's like, that guy's shit. We'll go to another guy. The other guy will recognize your talent. Like maybe he's just so far gone that he's just making all the shit up. And he should be in the electric chair because he gets to the point where people die because of his delusions. So I don't know if anybody likes that take, but Cohen brothers, they leave you to they just give you their story and say good luck figuring it out. You know, like that's what they do. You're gonna be uncomfortable. Good luck figuring it out. And maybe that's it.
Yeah, there was one thing that how did they get to accuse, arrest Billy Bob Thornton of murder just because there was a $10,000 receipt that they found? How did that lead to him being arrested for murder?
That was a
I
little
thought that was a
sketchy.
little,
Yeah.
yeah. I thought that
Well,
was a
even the
little,
trial for her being arrested for Big Dave's murder doesn't make sense. Like it's all circumstantial stuff that they're very
right.
sure, you know.
Which is what Tony Schlaub's going to confuse the jury and make them see reasonable doubt.
I agree with whoever said that. He was great. He was absolutely great. Now, Brian, question for you. Brian came out here Friday, and I was like, I just watched this movie. What'd you think? And he was like, Ooh, I don't know about this movie. And then I was like, well, I'll tell you my thoughts. No, maybe I shouldn't tell you my thoughts. And we were drinking. He's like, I'm not going to remember this anyway. And I remember by the end of the conversation, we had some pretty good points that we came across. Brian, do you remember any of them?
We talked about this movie Friday night.
Yep, same. I don't remember them either.
Okay.
But I do remember, like, ooh, let's bring this up when we talk about it because we were like, oh, yeah. Don't remember any of it.
Yeah. I
Too many beers ago.
I do remember we talked about the movie and you had some insights that I did not. And we did discuss the Coen brothers that we've watched some of their movies and I haven't been the biggest fan. So
Mhm.
I remember that.
There you go, guys. There's your Larson insight. Let that fill your soul. Back to you, Dan.
All right, yeah, just a couple other things. Billy Bob agreed to this movie right away without reading the script, and he said the Coen brothers, they just don't suck, was the reason he took the movie.
Agreed. Well, Brian, never mind.
Neither does Scarlett Johansson.
Well,
Though she may try.
yeah. Yeah, I thought the end was kind of fitting. He's in the electric chair and he looks at the hair of everybody that's in the crowd watching him get executed. And then they shave his legs to so I thought that was kind of a fitting end to the movie. They had to do with this barber job there.
Shaved her legs.
I did not catch that. Good pick, Dan. Good pickup.
Yeah, and I think that's why she had her legs shaved by him because he was a professional.
Yeah.
Yeah, she never seemed too grateful to him for anything. She was just like, do this. Don't. No thank you or nothing. But yeah, I think that's about it. I think we covered everything that I had written down.
Dan, what was your feeling on this movie? How much did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I agree with you guys a lot on this. There was parts that I liked, but then, in the middle there, I think I fell asleep. I had to rewind it and watch some of it again.
Yeah.
But yeah, but it was interesting though. I'm not upset that I watched it. There was a lot, but like Mela was saying, I think there's some things that were just, I don't know, maybe going over my head for me. But I was intrigued, and I think this is one I'm gonna watch again, so I can see if I can get a little more clarity. Because yeah, I think Coen Brothers, they said that they got the idea for this script. They were doing another movie, and there was a barbershop scene.
Hudsucker
And so-
Fox.
Is that what it was? Okay,
Which
so
have
they
you
got
seen that one?
I haven't seen
No.
that now.
Okay, it's Tim Robbins and Jennifer Jason Leigh, I believe.
Oh.
It's yeah. It's a little quirky. I like it.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Jennifer
Paul
Jason.
Newman, he was in it too.
Oh, was he? Okay. That was her voice, by the way. They voiced over the woman in the prison that kept crying in the room. When Frances McDormand comes in the
Yeah.
room to talk to her husband, the woman's crying over there and carrying on. They put Jennifer Jason Leigh's voice in.
Oh, interesting.
I don't know why they dubbed her voice in there. They didn't like the voice of the woman that was doing it.
Weird.
Yeah.
Well, they like reusing actors, right? There's a couple of directors that do that.
Oh yeah.
Michael
Yeah.
Bertolucci. There's another one. Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? There's a couple others. I can't remember, but and he's I don't know what he's done the last 15 years.
Last thing I seen him do was the Practice. TV
Yeah, right.
show,
He was on
David
there
Bowie.
all the time, right?
Yeah.
All right, but that's all I got.
Okay. I believe Matt is up next with a pick. Is that correct, Matt? You have a pick?
That is correct. I have a pick.
Now, your actors are Susan Sarandon and Sean Connery. Is that correct?
That is also correct.
Okay. Bookkeeping thing. I'm not going to be here for at least the next 3, if not 4 movies. So after Matt is Mike, Wilden, then Aaron, then Hilty, then Brian. Do I have that right? Is that the right order, you guys?
Mhm,
So I'm going to do the randomizer, and I'll give you guys your actors and actresses now, so you guys can just carry on while I'm indisposed. So Matt, hit us with your pick, and then we'll figure out what's going on in the near future here.
All right. I feel like these two are tough. Not because there's not a lot of movies, but just
I was going to
like
say.
expectation, right?
Okay.
So I'm gonna go a little sideways as I tend to do. And I'm gonna go with a Sean Connery movie. And I am gonna go with The Man Who Would Be King. Stars in it with Michael Caine. It's from the 70s. I believe it's on Tubi for free, but I think you have to rent it if you don't have Tubi or you don't want to watch commercials. So Brian and I will be renting it. I don't know
That,
about
by the way,
everybody
was the other kick in the nuts about this movie is I paid money to watch it.
So yeah, this is 1975, and the reason I picked this Sean Connery movie is because he says it was his favorite movie to make. So
Oh,
I
interesting.
thought would be
I've never
interesting.
even heard of it. Has anybody seen this?
I've heard of it.
It's based on the Rudyard Kipling. He wrote the Jungle Book. Kipling, is that his
Yes.
name?
Yep.
He wrote a
Jungle Book?
short. Yeah, he
Yeah.
wrote Jungle Book, and this is a short story he wrote, and they made it into a movie. So
Okay.
him and Michael Caine. So we'll see.
Brian, you seem like you've heard of it. Have you seen it?
I have not seen it, but I've heard of it.
Okay. So the next movie will be The Man Who Would Be King.
That'll do it for this episode of the BTB Movie Club podcast. Thank you as always for listening. We know we enjoyed ourselves. We hope you did too. Have yourself a great week. We are partnered with the SPDM Crew Podcasting Network.